Okay, so in Canada, we have Quebec province, which is French speaking. And the French that they speak in Quebecois is different than the French they speak in Paris, according to people who write the textbooks and teach the subject, because I haven't been to Paris. Have I heard anybody from France? Yes, that spoke English with an accent from France. I was told she was from France. It passed muster for me. Well, I didn't hear her speak French. Melinda. I didn't. I heard her speak English all the time with her French accent, which I was told was from Paris or something, as far as I can remember, not Quebecois. Oh, I don't know. It's just Quebecois is more coarse, perhaps, than the Queen speaking the Queen's French. But remember, Queen Elizabeth, amazing that an old lady like that could speak perfect French her whole life. Well, that's what we're told. Did we see her speak French? Yes, we did, on TV. In Canada, when she came to Canada proclaiming the Canadian Constitution, perhaps. Anyways, she speaks French, and she's an English speaker speaking a second language, French. So trying to get me to hear French, I have to go to like television and tune into French from international French. Senegal, perhaps. Cajun French in Louisiana. Cajun French is different than Quebecois, yes. How much different? Well, it's definitely, turned Louisianan over the time. But that French did come from what is now Canada, because it came from Acadia, and there's a university in Nova Scotia that's called Acadia, and it was another one of these horrible genocides. That's what it was. Who was running Acadia? France. And who was their enemy that took it over? England. So anyways, they had to leave, mass exodus, moved off the land of Acadia to Louisiana. Okay, what else do we want to know? Other places that speak French? Well, it's just that, I can possibly find on YouTube these French dialects, but I still don't know if they're actually spoken somewhere. Right? Because fake news is also fake YouTube. This my whole life, I have never been to France, and I've never been to Senegal. I have been to Louisiana, but no one spoke French to me. I've been to Quebec, and they speak Quebecois French. So, but, well, what is it about Quebecois French? Quebecois French. French. Je m'appelle David. Je m'appelle... no. What's this? Hold on a second. What's this? But don't say what's this. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? They all say, qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. And everybody goes, who the fuck is this nut at the front of our class in 5th grade at Victoria Park School in Thunder Bay? Because that was French immersion in Canada when I was 10 years old. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo! Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. Et qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. C'est un stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. C'est un stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? That's a stylo. Is that right? That's right. Somebody named Keskus. Now, at the time in Thunder Bay, we had a big shopping mall that was called Keskus, which is a Finnish word, we're told, which means, I don't know, Keskus, family or community or something. Love, heart, Keskus. A meeting place, and yeah, for Big Heart Thunder Bay. Anyways, Keskus. In those days, I think we had Keskus Mall. Keskus Mall. That's a Finnish word, we were told, and we were told that it was a lie. Other people corrected me over the years, but everybody wants to say. The largest population of people from Finland, outside of Finland, they used to tell us was Thunder Bay. Pretty much Port Arthur. Anyways, that's what they told us. Did they speak Finnish? I'm sure. I'm trying to think of a specific situation when I heard someone actually speak Finnish. Well, it's not coming to mind. But Finnish accented English, absolutely. And it's unbelievably unique. Yeah, it is. That kind of Thunder Bay Finnish person speaking Finn, and we're told they're from the old country. Yes. Are they different than their kids that are doing the Finnish accent? We think so. We think there's something very unique. We really do believe that Finland is a place where people speak the most bizarre language ever. And we're told it's related language to Hungarian. And we were told that those two languages are not part of the rest of European, wherever European languages came from. Finnish and Hungarian are from a completely different animal. Wikipedia is where we learned that. Okay, so, qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo? That's your lesson in French for the day. And that's what we got. I don't know, probably quite a few days. Anyways, because that, in French, c'est un stylo. I think that's right. C'est un stylo, une. Because it was feminine or masculine. I can't remember now. I used to have a trick. Along the way, somewhere along the way, because I did go to Quebec City, and then I spent a summer there in French immersion, because I was interested in going to Quebec City more than anything. And it was sexy to go to a place and learn Quebecois French, and it was a beautiful summer day. Quebec City is gorgeous. I had a wonderful time. But the first thing I went with is my horrible English tin ear, which means I literally cannot hear French. And that's what I was told in the computer lab. Did I believe it? Absolutely. Or was I being gaslit? To my mind, in those days, what they were telling me was true. And other brainwashing that we had was that children, brand newborn, any newborn child, if you leave them with any language person, for their childhood, they'll speak perfect language of that person they learned the language from. Perfect, unaccented, whatever that language is. And we're told that, maybe at 7 years old, I'm going to think it's probably younger. Yeah, 7 years old. By 7 years old, you can't learn language like that anymore. Something changes. Well, anybody going to tell me that I can speak perfect Quebecois? After a glass of wine, try me. We can do all kinds of things that we were told we can't do. Because I was told by a certain person that I couldn't hear certain sounds that were interpreted to an innate French person as meaning something. A diphthong or something that was unique to French, or it was pronounced so differently in French than the English equivalent that I came across someone who couldn't hear French properly. And this, we were told, we were all from all over the world, and not everybody was English as a first language. There were people from Latin America and Spain, maybe Japan, who were learning French immersion. So the whole class was told by someone who's constantly doing French immersion that we don't hear correctly to hear these things being spoken to the air by an innate French speaker. Now this is the wrong word. It's not innate French. Because it's not innate in you. You learned it by hearing it from your parents. Didn't you? We're told. We're like little ducklings. And we imprint on a mother duck, and we follow mother duck everywhere. Because we're like ducks. And whatever mother duck does, we monkey-minded things just emulate it perfectly. And we've never heard these words that have meaning to us this way spoken by anybody other than people who speak exactly the same way as Mom. But that's learned. We're told. So, perhaps the teacher was also under the impression that this is something that was learned because you learned a different language where they don't speak that diphthong that particular way, the French way, or they don't have that diphthong at all, perhaps in English. So you don't hear it. It's being spoken, but you don't hear it, Bob. Is the way it was explained to me. Did I believe it? Yes. Because he's the expert at taking people like me and helping us learn French. And mostly, I don't know, it wasn't enough time. Because, a few sessions in the computer lab, and then, next thing you know, my French immersion is over, and that's the end of it. But that fact is the fact, and I believed at the time, so... But what about innate ability to speak French, then? That would imply that somehow someone's going to say in our DNA, but I'm going to tell you no, because we don't use DNA when I do lectures. And I have a Bachelor of Science in Biology, just so you know. If you mention DNA to me, I'm going to tell you to fuck off and go find my old talks about DNA, because I'm not going to keep redoing all these other talks. And otherwise, you just have to take me as a flat earth kind of person and just say, well, I got a red flag on he doesn't like DNA. You put your red flag there, that's fine. And any other thing that you find is cognitive dissonance, that's what it is, you just mark it. It conflicts with my existing database that I learned from book learning and, the people telling me and teachers that I had to learn a test and, just the doctors and the big pharma companies and everything else. So I always talk about DNA and stuff. And even people that are into, Earth Ascension talk about DNA. Just be sure that you understand that I'm not going to say anything other than get out of my class. Because I already talked about this, and I've already talked about this now. Because if I'm going to move along, I want you to remember, we don't use DNA for anything. Because the innate language that I'm going to explain to you is not in DNA, and it's not in somewhere in your physical body, or in your brain, or in your aura, or in some other far-off place called the Akashic Records Library that you can only access if you can figure out how to do astral travel or something. Or you've got a buddy there named Francine who can go look it up for you if you're famous psychic that used to be in the National Enquirer, Sylvia Brown. So how does this all work? Well, Uh, First principles. I did lectures on first principles, and that is to talk about when you're going to build a house. Before the house is built, you get all the blueprints that you want, and you sign off on the blueprints. So it's all, in your head what you want, and you get it out on paper. And you make adjustments on the blueprints, and then you sign off on it, and that is what goes to the builder, and your house is built. So what happens first is, in mind, are you thinking right now that you are a bunch of little cells in your brain? Your little cell's brain, and that's what you are, and you're witnessing the mind talk, or are you the actual mind? Because people are going to say, well, the mind is, hosted by the human brain, because we were brainwashed to believe that. Anyways, if you got a red flag, then you just get one called cognitive dissonance, and you put another one over there for that. Because if you don't know that, then what do you know on my channel? Psychology 101, you can go look up cognitive dissonance. It's in every university level textbook. Okay, what else do we need to know? It just means that your existing data is very, very greedy. And it says it's true. And everything else that contradicts it is false and horribly negative, and it's probably going to make you sick and barf, and then it's going to kill you. Because that's what the existing data does to you. It hijacks you into believing that it's the truth. Well, you're all consumers, and you need to come to an understanding of other ways that advertisers get past your filters. And you all know all this goddamn advertising, the blah, 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 and it's the ways of going looping around to try and annoy you with another pop-up on your fucking phone when you're trying to get some information. And then something pops up in the middle to interrupt you, and next thing you know, you're trying to fiddle with your fucking phone. And then next thing you know is that you got an ad because it clicked on an ad, and then it's just fucking blah, 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 blah. And then by the time you go through all that, and you'll finally get to your Google screen to go and do your searches, like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Because then you've forgotten what the fuck it was that you needed to know a few minutes ago. Anyways, clearly the technology solution that's presented to us, it don't work. And you're going to say you want a Neuralink? Well, isn't it shitty software? And then when the power goes out, or it fuzzes out, or it's really bad reception, well, how are you going to turn off bad reception when the Neuralink's built into your head as an implant? How are you going to turn that motherfucker down? Huh? Or it goes on the fritz, and the repairman says, well, the guy that knows that, he lives in Zurich, and he's on sabbatical for unlimited numbers of days. So in other words, you're fucked, because nobody's going to get that goddamn thing out of your head, are they? Anyways. Stas-dilo? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Now, qu'est-ce que c'est is spelled in French as Q-U-E-S-Q-U-E. C''E''S''T. That's how you spell qu'est-ce que c'est in French. But in Thunder Bay, when you're 10 years old, someone comes and says, qu'est-ce que c'est? You hear qu'est-ce que small and say qu'est-ce que small, qu'est-ce que c'est. Simon says, oh, this is the kind of game, because you're 10 years old, and you're trying to figure out this woman, because she is a nut. She is a cuckoo pants. She's like Bozo the Clown on TV. Anyways, she's a teacher. I can help you out. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Stas-dilo. If you asked us, how do you spell Stas-dilo? S-T-A-S-T Stilo E-E-L-O. Because we just sounded it out. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Whatever I said. And that was the comedy break that we had as our introduction to French. Did it work? Fuck no. Fuck no! Fuck no! It took me years before I finally understood that she was saying, qu'est-ce que c'est? What is this? In French, qu'est-ce que c'est means, what is this? C'est un stylo, or as good as I can get if it's feminine. C'est un, c'est, because they blend the words. C'est un. It's one word, but spelled it's two separate words. So c'est un, U-N-E for feminine, or U-N if it's masculine. Stylo, S-T-Y-L-O. S-T-Y-L-O is a pen. Pen in French is stylo. Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est un stylo. Because we never heard nothing about that. C'est un stylo. But, because did it work? Well, we had to take many more years of French. Did it work? No. If you ask anybody who went through all those years of French, can you speak French? Nope. What a waste of fucking money that is. A bunch of fucking teachers teaching us French, and in the end, we're not comfortable. Now, can we understand French? No. What if you gave us a newspaper with some French words? It's like a crossword puzzle. A hard one. New York Times, hard crossword puzzle. Nobody can do it except Fraser Crane. Probably Niles. Fraser calls Niles when he gets stuck. And Niles calls Niles knows. Or he calls Daphne. And the two of them, if they can't get it, then they're going to call Diane. And Diane is going to know. If Diane don't know, then they're going to call somebody who's going to make it up. Coach. The coach is going to tell them something. And they're going to go, that man is like halfway in dementia. But that guy, because Cosmo Kramer is looking at it, is that guy, Coach. That guy, he's like that, I don't know. And being there, have you seen Peter Sellers in the movie Being There? Chancey Gardner? That's right, Coach and Chancey Gardner. Chancey Gardner's even further down the pipe when it comes to checked right out. Anyways, those are funny things to go check it out. So we had Cheers as Coach, and we had Seinfeld with Kramer, etc., etc. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est stylo. Now, if Troy McDonald, because he was in that class, and he was really smart and really quick. Well, there was, Jury was Bruce Orrick and Peter McDonald. Anyways, Jory McDonald is going to take it because he came up with, in Scrabble, Jags, to get a huge score. J-A-G-S, I think. I don't think it was Jagger, and Jaguar, no, I think it was Jags. And we questioned him on it. We said, I don't think that's a word, or something with that. Anyways, he gets the cake because he's a good salesman, because he gives you a 10,000 watt smile, and he sells it, and apparently he is a salesman somewhere, selling stuff. Must be excellent at it, because no one's going to say no to that. Anyways, if he had to come up with what, when we say qu'est-ce que c'est, qu'est-ce que small, c'est, whatever that word is, sta stylo, what is he going to say when he's 10 years old is what sta stylo means? We all together, everybody in that class, sta stylo. What is this? Sta stylo. We got it that this meant a pen. The word for a pen we were taught is sta stylo. Stylo, however you pronounce it in proper French, is the correct word for this. We learned the wrong word. Sta stylo is what we learned. A Polish person hearing stylo and sta stylo is going to say those are two different words. It's like hell and Helen. They're completely different meanings, and apparently we fuck up all the time in Japanese and other languages. When we Chinese, because these languages are impossible for adult humans, we were told, and in my experience in the past, it was true. But access to new talents that were blocked previously, because that's a whole other story, but it has everything to do with the can't help you out right now. Anyways, accessing innate French. Do you have it? Have you tried it? How do you access it? How do you activate it? The answer is, I put it on the table of those questions because this is all channeled right now, which means it's new to me too. Ça stylo and all that's old time stuff. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ça stylo.